welcome to Armstrong High School. A warm mid-September night here as a rivalry renewed a little bit from the old Classic Lake and Lake days. It's the Hopkins Royals paying a visit here to the Armstrong Falcons. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox along with Bill Hunstock. And Bill, kind of an interesting start to the season for both of these teams.
Interesting.
Hopkins was, coming in thinking this was going to be a year when they had a better chance to do well. They've gotten Eden Prairie off the schedule and Wayzata and teams like that, but they've gotten off to an 0-2 start, a young team. They need to play with more confidence is one of the things that Coach Den Hartog talked about.
Yeah, and a couple of the other coaches mentioned that to me as well, that their confidence, they need a win to build their confidence, and they got to have confidence to get a win. So that's that chicken and egg thing, where you go. And with a group of high school kids, particularly with primarily juniors and sophomores in the starting lineup, even one freshman at linebacker, they're young, they're somewhat inexperienced, but like a lot of Hopkins teams, they've got good athletes. So all they need to do is gel and find that confidence or find that little bit of leadership that they need, and they'll be all right. This will be a good test for them tonight.
Yeah, for Armstrong, some of the same story. They're a young team as well. A lot of juniors in their lineup and a few sophomores. They're 1-1. They got a win over Spring Lake Park last week, which maybe Spring Lake Park isn't as good as they've been in some years, but it's still a good win. They had to hold on. They built a big lead and saw the other team come back on them a little bit, but they're in a lot of the same boat, I think, in terms of just getting reps and getting everybody ready to play, and they're feeling cautiously optimistic.
They're cautiously optimistic because beating a Spring Lake Park team, I don't care when you beat them, that's beating a good program, and they've been good for 30 years. So that's a big step for this Armstrong team, particularly for their younger players to have some confidence and to hold on. They say a 27-0 lead, and then they win 27-24. Well, you almost blew it. Well, almost, but they still won, and a W is better than an L no matter what. And their younger players need to really continue to step up and play. Both teams have some questions at quarterback, and we'll be seeing that tonight, particularly with Armstrong, how they're going to handle the quarterback position and who's going to start and who's going to be the backup and those kind of things, and see how the kids gel around that particular individual in the offense. And I think that's going to be a key for both teams, is how well does their offense gel and how tougher their defense is going to be.
Let's talk about key players to look at in tonight's game, starting with the visiting Royals. And they're a team that, in the past several years throws the ball well. They've got a receiver who's gotten off to a great start. He's not a big guy, but Xarian Hill's had a very nice start through two games.
Xarian Hill's got 10 catches in 2 games for 263 yards, so he's averaging like 26 yards a catch. So he's got some ability to get open, and the quarterbacks have the ability to find him. And they're going to need to do that. But I think also that's going to put some pressure on the defense to stop him, make sure that he doesn't get those big yards. And then hopefully that'll open up for Hopkins. It'll open up a secondary receiver that they can get the ball to. And they've got a couple of pretty tall receivers that can grab the ball.
And for Armstrong, we're going to talk about a guy that was maybe somewhat of a pleasant surprise last year, that this year they came in right to camp saying, this is probably our best offensive weapon, Jesse Sherwood at running back.
Jesse Sherwood got an opportunity last year to play some, and he took that opportunity and ran with it, literally. And he's their best running back this year. He's going to be a feature back. In a one-back offense, it's hard not to be. But I think they're going to find a couple of different ways to use him. They run from a spread, but they use a lot of power-type football plays, so we'll see a lot between the tackles and then try to hit some speed on the outside. But I think the key is going to be Jesse there in the middle.
All right, it's been a while since these teams met. 2009 was the last meeting. They're back now in a new sub-district together, along with Forest Lake and Coon Rapids. So a lot of new opponents to prepare for this year for both the Royals and the Falcons, and we will see how they look going head-to-head coming up next here on CCX Sports.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
They are ready to go. A little early start here, looks like, as Hopkins getting set to kick off. Andrew Adabodea, a foreign exchange student, will be kicking off. Middle back deep is Nassim Lozier for Armstrong. They're their fastest player on their team. They're hoping to get the ball in his hands and get a good return to get things started out. Very warm evening here, and the kick is a little bit shorter, and it is dropped. Falcons will still able to get to it here as it's picked up by Andrew Stoker, and then out of bounds he goes as a flag flies. Joining us from the sideline once again tonight will be Allie Alt. Let's go down to Allie.
Hey guys, you mentioned it in the open. These two teams are young and going through some early season growing pains, much like other teams do. But tonight, let's focus on defense. For Hopkins, through just 2 games, they have allowed 65 points throughout those games, to which Coach and Hartog attributes a young D-back crew who has been playing nervous. Now he says through practice this week, they have been working on different coverages, so they're expecting to apply that here tonight and find more success in the backfield. Now for Armstrong, through just 2 games, 53 points have been allowed by their defense. And Coach Nagin says he's not worried about their defense. He says tonight they are facing a spread offense, and that is where they are very comfortable playing defensively. So tonight for them, focusing on offense, getting those scores, getting that second win of the season will be their primary focus. Guys.
Tyler Fliss starting at quarterback for Armstrong. First down pass is complete to Lozier out on the left side, and he will get a first down as he is out to the 31, a pickup of 13 on first down here for the Falcons. And they'll go no huddle. As we said, both teams have been kind of shuffling quarterbacks, and Tyler Fliss getting the start tonight. He did not play last week. They intended to use him some, but just the circumstances of the game, Cole Preem played that whole night. Here's the handoff going up the middle. Sherwood pops it forward for 3, maybe 4, out to about the 35-yard line. And Armstrong knows that Hopkins is aggressive defensively, and they have to be ready for that. And they expect to see definitely a dose of that guy, Jesse Sherwood, too.
One would think.
2nd and 6 coming up now for Fliss and this Falcons offense. Pair of juniors, and there's even a sophomore in the mix that could see time at quarterback as well for Armstrong. We'll talk about that more as the night goes. Fliss will turn and give it to Sherwood left side, and the Hopkins D was ready that time. He did not make it back to the line of scrimmage. You see the defensive starters flashing by there, and one of the guys in on the stop was Reagan Holmes there for the Royals. And it will be a short loss of about a yard on the play, bring up a 3rd down here for Armstrong. Officials timeout. I think it might be an equipment issue here. So Hopkins trying to force a 3 and out. Armstrong looking to extend the drive. I'm sorry, there was the one first down given already. Lozier had the first down catch. Fakes the handoff. Fliss rolling right, throws, and it is complete, and it'll be good enough for the first down. And popped out of bounds there is Nathan Pertula, the fullback. Nice play fake here, and Pertula able to advance it out to the 48.
This is a really nicely designed play action pass. They faked a run to Sherwood. Nice rollout to the short side of the field by Fliss, and he's able to hit the receiver in the flat and turn up to get the first down. That's the kind of passing play that can be effective for this kind of offense.
Sherwood, a heavy-duty collision there with the young linebacker R.J. Chikolas, the freshman. And there's a look at Coach Jack Nagin, 4th season as head coach here with the Falcons. Done a nice job with their program. I mean, no doubt that the changing in schedules to the district scheduling has helped some of the teams. The records look better and whatnot. But you get a little bit of winning, and it certainly gets your players more enthused about being in your program.
Yeah, it changes your whole culture, as a matter of fact.
Fliss looking to the left, throws and incomplete. Dropped there by Ty Bowman, the talented sophomore. Not perfect. It was a little behind him. Got his hands on it though, but couldn't quite bring it in. And it will be 3rd and long here for Armstrong. they kind of like their receiving core. Mostly just what they need is experience and time together, but they like their talent.
Well, they've got a couple of long receivers, too, guys that are 6'3", 6'2", that are pretty good receivers.
Fliss in some trouble in the backfield, just got rid of that ball as he was being dragged down. I don't see a flag for grounding. He was trying to get it out there, but in hot pursuit was Demetrius Patton, and Patton catches up to him here, and Fliss just barely gets rid of that ball, and they'll give him the benefit of the doubt there and say he was not a grounding situation. Matthew Jager on to punt for Armstrong. Got a great leg. Very good place kicker and then punter as well. Exarian Hill waiting back deep here right around the 20-yard line for the Royals. So Armstrong advances it to midfield, but no further here, and they will have to boot it away. Good high kick, fair catch called for, and Hill can't come up with it. And then he's able to pounce on it, but all the way back at the 5-yard line. About a 43-yard punt, and then will be minus a couple on the return. They'll spot it right about the 5, and Hopkins will get the football for the first time tonight. And they will have their junior, James Flecker, at quarterback. They, again, have done some alternating as well, as Connor Fitzgerald has played some, the senior. Flecker will get the start tonight. And it sounds like, at least going in, that unless things get away, that they plan to try and stick with him. Both coaches we talked to, it's kind of the same thing where they like both guys, but nobody's really seized the job. So Flecker will see what the Royals can do here for receiver set, as they often use, and that throw is short, trying to get it out into the flat to Hill, and Flecker didn't have enough on it, and it'll be second and long as you see the Royals offensive starting unit. Very warm day, very muggy, but the nice thing is by the time you're to this time, the sun's starting to go down. I don't think it feels all that hot out there for these guys compared to what it might have earlier today.
Pretty nice evening.
Flecker standing right near the goal line as he gets set to receive the snap here on second and long. Looking to his right again. This time it is complete, but down immediately after making the catch is Jack Gunderson, and he will not have enough for a first down, although a nice play to get him out of the hole a little bit, and they'll pick up about 7 on that gainer.
Yeah, it's a nice quick slant to the 3 receiver side. Inside receivers clear out and let the outside guy get a good slant angle. He just tripped after he caught the ball. Otherwise, he probably would have had a first down.
So 3rd and 3 here for the Royals as Armstrong trying to get off the field and force a punt from deep in Hopkins territory. The Royals would like to get at least 1 first down to get this field position a little bit more under control. Flecker looking to shovel pass there, but it's pretty well read, and they're going to be short of the first down as they get the completion to Jaden Washington, their best running back, but Armstrong was not fooled. See, it's well defended here, and first contact made there for the Falcons by Ross Graves, and then he got plenty of help as well.
That was pretty well played by Graves to stay at home and not get fooled by the fake to the outside.
That's pretty good discipline because you're you're eager to get after the quarterback usually,
or to get into your passing zone, and he did a good job of reading where things were happening.
David Sheldon punting this for Hopkins, and the Falcons unable to field it, so it'll be down to about the 46-yard line of Armstrong.
So actually ends up being a pretty nice punt by Sheldon. I was watching him in warm-up, and he'd have one punt that would go 45 or 50 yards, and then he'd have one that go 10. So and the coaches were working with him, and just trying to get him to be a little more consistent. It's all right to have the 45-yarder, but the 10-yarder you don't want to have happen in a game.
So Armstrong gets it back for the second time. Fliss still the quarterback here. First down from their own 46. So despite a good punt, it's still good field position for Armstrong. Going to run option right. It's dropped by Sherwood. Ooh. The battle is on. It looks like Hopkins got it. And they will have it. Recovery for the Royals there by Holmes as Sherwood didn't haul it in on the pitch. And then the guys in white diving low, getting to it, and Holmes will recover it. And a turnover by Armstrong will give Hopkins great field position. Holmes getting low, surging, and he just beats Fliss to that ball. And he came up with it cleanly, too. A lot of times that'll kind of start to bounce away from you a little bit when you try to pounce on it like that. There's a look at Coach Den Hartog. And, you know, they've had some really good players in their program.
Exactly.
And they've had some pretty decent teams. But, gosh, butting their heads every year against Eden Prairie and Wayzata and teams like that. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, that they're kind of lighten the load a little bit this year, so to speak. Not that they don't have good teams, obviously, to play. 1st and 10 from the Armstrong 40. Ooh, Flecker drilled as he threw that one, and it is incomplete. Pressure applied there by Michael Wozniak for Armstrong. He got a good shoulder into the midsection of Flecker, and the pass falling incomplete too long. Here's another look. Good job. He didn't hit him too high, too low, or any of that stuff either.
He had a good form tackle, didn't hit anybody with his head, and didn't hit the Flecker in the head.
So 2nd and 10 now for the Royals, as they have the football in much better field position, obviously, this time around than the first time when they received a punt and got it at their own 5. Here's Flecker looking to throw again. Fires out in the flat to the right, and it's incomplete. Too tall for Wayne Blakes. Decent pressure applied again there by Armstrong, and it will be 3rd down and long.
Now, one of the bugaboos with a spread offense, quick passing game is the quarterback's got to keep, you know, particularly throwing out in the flat. That's one of the toughest passes to throw. Doesn't seem like it would be, but getting the ball the right trajectory and the right elevation is very challenging.
Here's the 3rd down play for the Royals. Flecker fakes it, and he goes with the draw, and that one is sniffed out. Washington is stopped about a yard short of the line of scrimmage. Washington is a good back for them.
Yes, he
had
is.
A very good year last year, and they really like him and think he's got a chance to be pretty good this year. But nicely read and nice form tackle there, too, by Dacian Francis, a sophomore for Armstrong. So it'll be 4th and 11.
Wow, I'm really surprised they're not punting.
Yeah, they're at least lining up as if to go for it. I suppose it's not out of the question that Flecker could drop back and kick it too, or just try to draw him offside, which is the early indication. Timeout requested by Hopkins. They were hoping they could bring Armstrong offside. I mean, it wasn't going to be enough for 1st down even if they got 5, but it was, you know, you'd obviously give yourself a better opportunity.
Yeah, 4th and 11 to get him jump off sides and make it 4th and 6. Not a lot of advantage there. And you had to burn a timeout. A lot of times on this part of the field, instead of taking the timeout, you take the 5-yard penalty and let your kicker kick away, because if he kicks the ball 35 to 40 yards and you're at the 45, 50-yard line, they got a good chance of pinning them down deep in their own zone.
This time they are in punt formation, so I don't think they ever really did intend to go for it there. Sheldon standing at his 45. Sheldon gets away a good kick this time. You're right. It was a little different than the other one. Oh, and it takes a great bounce for the Royals. Out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Really no chance for Norman to field that ball, and it's going to go out at the 3. A 38-yard punt, but no return, and Armstrong pinned deep. And boy, the field position battle here, the field really flipped.
Really flipped the field, exactly, Jay. And you know, you go from your own 5 to your opponent's 3. That in literally 4 plays, that's really a big switch, and it changes inside the 10, and particularly inside the 5. It changes everything about your offense. And I think, you know, if you're really, really aggressive, you throw the ball downfield because you want to try to take advantage of an overly aggressive defense.
From the 3, they'll keep it on the ground, trying to get some room there, but not a whole lot. Maybe a couple yards, it looked like, for Sherwood. Armstrong had turnovers that contributed last week to Spring Lake Park getting back in that game. This was Leandre Gates handling the ball that time for the Falcons, and it was indeed a 2-yard pickup, so 2nd down. Hopkins will be aggressive too. Fliss will have to make good decisions getting out, trying to get the ball out of here. You can see the Royals are pinning their ears back and getting ready to come off the edges. Fliss throwing, and it is complete. And that'll be a first down and more. Breaking away there is Bowman, and he has a chance to go. One guy with a shot. Bowman down the sideline, and he is gone. 95 yards for the touchdown, and Armstrong is on the board first.
Isn't that time, Bowman?
That's just the way the coaches drew it up.
Nice play initially here, but Hopkins needed to wrap up a little better here. I don't know how they couldn't get him down with 4 guys there, but Bowman did a nice job keeping his feet, and he is fast. And he got enough of a downfield block to slow the safety coming over.
Yeah, he got a really good, he really got some great help from one of the other receivers who ran right along with him and kept the defender off of him.
Jaeger on to attempt the extra point. Fliss is the holder, and Hopkins got an early start there. Kick was banged through, but this play was whistled dead before it could get started there as Hopkins jumped the gun off sides. So Armstrong making the first big play of the game as the sophomore Bowman breaks out of a tackle and goes 95 yards for a touchdown. So much about that poor field position.
Yeah,
right?
97-yard 2-play touchdown drive. This game is easy.
Talked about Jaeger, now a senior, and I think on a short list of the best kickers in Minnesota. And you know, I think they just want to go ahead and still take the one here. They get the yardage, you know, the half the distance from the penalty there, but they're still going to have Jaeger kick. And you know, you don't take for granted that you're going to have a kicker that you have confidence in to make extra points regularly, but also to be a guy who can make field goals for you. I mean, obviously we see a lot of teams where it's the kicking game is kind of an afterthought and not very good, but Armstrong does not have that condition. There's a look again, and Hopkins defensive players, when they watch their film, they're going to turn and look away because I don't think their coaches are going to be too happy with that.
No, they're going to be making some comments about paying attention and effort, because there were 2 guys that came in after the initial hit that were on the wrong side of the play. They were on the downfield side instead of the upfield side. And if you can't ever assume that the guy is down until the whistle blows, and a guy spinning out of a tackle is fairly common. So you always have to attack his upfield side, because if he spins, he's going to be running towards the goal line, and that's where you'd like to be. 2 of their defenders were downfield.
So a nice home crowd getting excited for that one for Armstrong, and they will boot it away here. Interesting, you know, both these coaches have been around for a while. Coach Van Hardog even longer than Coach Megan, but they said some of the same things about how the effort has been good. It's just both teams with a lot of youth and mistakes are happening. He said, you know, they each said if we can, you know, translate into games the way we do things in practice, we have a chance to be pretty good. From the 6-yard line here, some room on the return, and cutting it up nicely there for the Royals is Willie Blakes. So they will get good field position as he is out to just about the 40-yard line. You see Blakes, pretty good sized running back.
He does a nice job. He makes a nice cut, and when he cuts, what I like about his movement is his cut takes him with momentum towards the goal line. In the kicking returns especially, you don't want to be running east and west. You want to be running towards the goal line. And you got a much better chance of breaking a tackle going towards the goal line than you do running towards the sidelines.
So Flecker and company with it at the 40, now trailing at 7-0. Flecker rolling out to his left, gets good protection. He's going to take off and run it here, and he'll have a first down into Armstrong territory, knocked out of bounds right around the 46-yard line, so a 14-yard pickup. Nice run there, first down for the Royals.
Yeah, that is exactly what he should do in that situation. I believe that you know, he forces the defense now. Next time he comes out on the flank like that, the defense will come up, and that'll open up the passing lane for him.
Washington takes the handoff, and he is met immediately. Nice job to wrap him up there for the Falcons by Graves. And see where they'll spot it. They'll give him a yard on the run as he kind of was able to turn his body to the side despite absorbing that hard hit. Graves was there, and he had help coming, but he didn't need it.
Right.
He got him to the ground himself.
And Graves has done a nice job so far tonight. He's filled the seams pretty nicely.
2nd and 9 here for the Royals on the Armstrong 45. Flecker, straight drop back, fires, and it's almost picked off in and out of the hands of Tyler Peterson. Ball was thrown hard enough that it wasn't an easy catch, although it was basically right at him. And I don't know that Flecker even saw him here. He was throwing it to.
He's coming hard across.
Coming across, looking for Hill.
And Tyler Peterson's a hard guy not to see at 6 feet 6 inches tall, and he hit him right where it hurts. In the hands.
3rd and 9 for the Royals. Flecker under pressure, throws deep over the middle, and it's complete as he throws a strike and finds Hill down to the 25, a gain of 20. He did a nice job of standing in against pressure there.
Yeah, he takes a hit right as he releases. Hill makes a nice grab. We can see that Hill's not the tallest guy. In fact, he's fairly compact, but he does a nice job of grabbing that ball out of the air and making something happen. He's got over 20-yard average per catch this year, and we can see why.
So 1st and 10 from the Armstrong 25 as Hopkins looks to answer the Armstrong touchdown here. Flecker looking right. Now he steps up and will take off. And then he ended up cutting wide with it and probably needed to just get as much as he could and then go down there, and wasn't able to get around Wozniak. Still a decent gainer here, but it looked like it was going to be more. There you see him right there.
Exactly.
Thinking he was going to be able to outrun him to the outside, and it just didn't happen.
You seldom can. It's hard to outrun the angle. And I like to teach quarterbacks, even at a fairly young age, you don't have to be the toughest guy out there. It's okay to, when you get downfield 10 or 12 yards, to get on the ground.
2nd down and 6 here after that 4-yard pickup. Flecker throwing left, and he airmailed it up too high for Colin Hammond, who's only 5'4". Flecker's a pretty good-sized quarterback, as he stands 6'2". He's probably saying, well, for me that would have been right to me, but it's got a couple of real small receivers. But no, obviously we're making light there, but he should have. It was a very completable ball, obviously, just kind of rushed it.
Right, and he threw that one off his back foot. Whenever a quarterback is getting off his back foot, then the ball's going to sail on him just like that one did.
So 3rd and 6 here. Armstrong looking to make a big stop. Hopkins wanting to get on the board, and handoff there, and nothing doing again, not fooling anyone. Colin Hammond probably wished he could give that ball back to Flecker because he was hit immediately and will lose about 4 at least. No, more than that.
Another nice tackle by Tyler Peterson. That was a loss of 6 or 7. Makes it 4th down and 14 now for Hopkins. This is a tough spot on the field. Inside the 30, you got to get all the way to almost the 15-yard line. You got to get to the 16-yard line for a 1st down. Very tough call here.
Although I think an easy choice to go for it in this spot. Really, what else are you going to do? Here, go a little slip screen out to Hill. Gets a block. Hill trying to cut back, but just too many red jerseys around, and they will cover him up. We do have a flag down on the play, though. See if this might be a hold or an illegal block, though, out in the flat. It might be against Hopkins, but we'll double check. Did not get anywhere near enough for the 1st down, obviously.
A gain of about 6 or 8.
More than likely, this is against Hopkins, and Armstrong will take the play and take over on downs.
Yep.
That is indeed the case. So they will get credit for the gainer of about 5, but not nearly enough for the 1st down, and it'll be turned over on downs.
So we can see here a little bit of a slip screen
The hold, I think, comes right at the edge. You don't quite see it there, but you do see the flag coming in. So.
But that's very good pursuit by the Armstrong defense. They got 5-6 guys to the ball to Hill before he could break a tackle and get any other yardage.
From the 24, Fliss looking deep downfield, and he's got his man Lozier, and he is going to go for a touchdown. 76-yard strike. Well, Coach Potts, the offensive coordinator, told us that Nassim is our fastest guy, and it looked like it right there.
Well, they've got 2 touchdowns and 165 some yards passing on 2 consecutive plays. And exactly what Coach Den Hartog was talking about in pregame with Alley is that their secondary, young and inexperienced, and they've been toasted twice here now on consecutive plays for an awful lot of yardage and 2 touchdowns.
Jaeger on to attempt the extra point, and it is good. And so with 2:49 to go in the first quarter, it is 14-0 Armstrong, as Nassim Lozier going 76 yards.
And you see he's isolated one-on-one out there. There's no safety rolling over to help with that. And
did a good job of not being tackled there too. I thought at first when he caught it, it was going to be a big gain, but the question was, would he be tripped up right there? But he was not. He was able to keep running, and he's, as you said, Bill, they got some receivers with some size too. Not only is he fast, obviously he stands 6'3", so a nice target to have probably in a few different spots on the field for you. So they get a nice
well-executed play too.
Yeah, get a nice stop defensively and then come right back with a big strike down the middle of the field. So Jaeger will kick it off here for Armstrong. Gonna boom this one deep and way into the end zone, about 5 yards deep. So no chance for a return. The Royals had a pretty decent return last time.
Exactly.
Another reason why you look to bang that ball deep. And so Hopkins will get it back. A little shell-shocked here, trailing it now 14-0. But plenty of game to go. You don't...
Certainly, yeah.
Can't hang your head if you're the Royals right now. And their offense has done, a few nice things too.
Yeah, they've got to find some consistency. They've got to get themselves out of, third and very long situations. But they've had some very nice plays. Flecker's done a good job. He needs to settle down a little bit and really find his receivers and throw the ball to them if that's what the plan is.
1st and 10 from the 20. They'll go handoff up the middle. Ooh, and Washington, huge collision right there. And he's able to hold on to the ball, and looks like everybody's okay getting up out of that. It'll be about a 1-yard pickup, but that was a heck of a collision in the hole here, as you see coming up to meet him there for the Falcons was Francis.
Yeah, Dacian Francis does a really nice job of filling. It's called a backside fill, where you're looking for the cutback lane as the backside backer, and he does a nice job with that.
Flecker throws, and it is dropped. Looked to be pretty well on target to Lamonte Hayes, but not able to bring it in. And it will be 3rd down and long now for the Royals.
Yeah, and this is the situation they said they got to avoid. Lamonte Hayes got hit right in the 7 with the ball, and you got to be able to catch that.
So a 3rd and long for the Royals. And we get a flag. This is a delay a game against Hopkins.
They took a long time at the line of scrimmage. Not exactly sure what was happening there. Second penalty in a row now here with Hopkins. They had one at the end of the last series, and these are the kind of mistakes that timing penalty like that is, at this point in the season now, your third game, you should be getting over those kind of things. You should have the feel for the game by now.
So 3rd and 14 for the Royals. Flecker looking deep down the middle of the field. He throws, and too high as he tried to find Wayne Blake's. And just a little out of his reach here as he was again feeling a little bit of heat. Was open, but just got too much.
A little bit
ball
too
there.
high, and he had Zarian Hill wide open in the middle of the field. And again, the young quarterback, he's got to. It's very hard for a quarterback to see the field. A lot of times you like to have him focus on a third or a quarter of the field and have an idea where they're going to throw the ball.
Sheldon didn't hit this one particularly well. It takes a sideways bounce out of bounds into the Hopkins bench at about the 38 or so. Give him about a 20, 21-yard punt there, looks like. They'll spot it on the 37. And you see across the way the Hopkins students making the trip up here to Armstrong, up 169. Not too bad of a journey. Obviously, traffic sometimes is a bit of an issue between the schools, but they're not really too far apart, right off of 169.
No, only about 10, 20 minutes apart.
If that.
If that much,
probably 10 on a good day anyway. Fliss is the quarterback yet for Armstrong here as they start on the Hopkins 37, already leading 14-0. And they go with the reverse here. Stoker taking that handoff, the second handoff. Hopkins wasn't fooled entirely, but they do still pick up about 6 on the play.
It was pretty well executed reverse and also pretty well defended. Stoker doesn't. Stoker does a nice job of running that. He just accelerated into the collision and said, I'm going to get what I get, and we'll be happy with it.
2nd and 4 on the 31 now. Fliss throwing out, and he comes right back to Stoker on the catch. They can't get him down, at least yet. Now finally brought down at about the 7. And it'll be 1st and goal to go here for Armstrong.
Armstrong is taking advantage of the secondary of Hopkins as they get the ball off to Stoker. Fliss gets the ball off to Stoker in very good order, and he does a good job of running afterwards. Got 1st and goal now at the 8.
They come to Sherwood, and he is wrapped up immediately. Nice job defensively there by Kue for Hopkins, and see where they'll spot this one. I don't think he got much, if any, on that one. No, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Short loss for Sherwood.
Jesse Sherwood's had a tough go tonight. They're going to have to keep going to him because he'll get better as the game goes along. But they're really going hard at the defensive line.
And Armstrong will get a false start on right side of their offensive line. So that doesn't help. They get a loss on the first play on 1st and goal, and then a 5-yard mark off back to the 15. So 2nd and goal from the 15. I guess if you want to look for positives, it does give your receivers a little more room to work with.
Exactly.
Fliss looking out in the flat on the left, completes it. Bowman trying to cut through a couple of defenders. He'll get about 5 on the play. It looks like they'll spot him back to about the 10, where this is going to be the last play of the first quarter. So it's a good first quarter for the home team. Our score after 1, Armstrong 14 and Hopkins nothing. We'll have more football up next on CCX.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
color in my garden, keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back here to Armstrong High School in Plymouth, along with Bill Hunstock and Allie Arlt. I'm Jay Wilcox. 14-0 Falcons. 2 big passing plays. One was a catch and broken tackle run for 95 yards, and then another one was a straight bomb up the middle. And Armstrong looking to add to the lead here. They've got 3rd and goal from the 10-yard line as we begin quarter 2. And now Hopkins appeared to be the guilty. Yep, going to be an offside call against the Royals, so they'll push it down inside to about the 5-yard line.
So we'll have, that's a critical penalty against, against our Hopkins, because Armstrong had helped him out with the procedure penalty. Now you give it back to him in spades.
Well, and it's certainly, you're looking at, it could be 4-down territory, and much easier to get 5 yards than 10, too.
Exactly.
Even though they have a really good kicker and maybe would be looking at, field goal possibly anyway. But Fliss looking to the bench as he gets the play call in. Firing out in the flat and incomplete. Had it in his hands for a moment there. Stoker went up for it. And not sure the throw, it just got on him a little quicker than he thought, and he collided a little bit with Elias Hill there.
Just enough of a bump by the defensive back to keep Stoker from being able to put the grabbers on it.
22-yard attempt coming up here from Jaeger. And plenty of leg on that, and it is good. So 8 seconds into the second quarter, it becomes 17-0 Armstrong as their standout kicker Jaeger booms one through from 22 yards out. So they don't get the touchdown they wanted on the drive, but it's 3 more points up on the board.
It's always a good idea to put points up. And from Hopkins' point of view, they had him 1st and goal inside the 10 and didn't give up a touchdown. And during a game, you're looking for every little positive thing you can find. Yeah, the negative is they got down to 1st and goal. The positive is we stopped them and gave them a field goal instead of 7. The offense really, Hopkins' offense really needs to put a couple of things together. They need to get 3 or 4 good plays put together to make some things happen here. And Jaeger certainly has proved that he can get the ball into the end zone and put him at the 20-yard line.
So Jaeger getting set to boot it deep here. Hill was waiting back middle deep. Got Harris on one side of him and Willie Blakes on the other. And Blakes has it bounce off him, and it's going to stay in the field of play. He'll pick it up on the 5. Avoids the first man, but not the next, and he'll go down at about the 8. So a very effective kick. We talked about last time getting the touchback, and then this time he puts a kick that's tough to handle, and Blakes, he had to play it at this point. It wasn't going to go back into the end zone. Got one guy to miss, but then nice job to hold on. Ian Morris set and others there.
It's so hard to catch a kickoff, especially one that's flying like that one did above your head. It's really hard. And Blake's got too close to it, and if he has to stay a little bit deeper on that wing to make that happen. Now Hopkins is very deep in their own zone.
Yeah, pin deep at the 7. 1st and 10 for Hopkins. Klecker rolling out to his left, and he's going to think about throwing, and now just dumped it out at the last second. A flag goes down. This is probably going to be an intentional grounding. He was being wrapped up.
And he has an awful lot of green here. The first time they ran this play, he kept running it, and to stop and run sideways is not a good thing. It's part of the learning curve for that young quarterback is to not try to make something happen what isn't there. Run with the ball. Make him come up and tackle you. But now you're going to get a loss of down as well as an intentional grounding.
Yeah, they're going to pick it up. Just going to be incomplete. Weston Johnson had the pressure on, and I think you could make the case that Flecker threw the ball so wildly because he was being pulled sideways.
Yeah,
too,
he was being drug out of bounds.
Good job by the officials. They talked about it. The official closest to it said, I didn't have it as being a grounding. So, actually, they may have called him out of bounds. They spotted the ball back a couple yards. So, actually, it would be, instead of an incomplete pass, it looks like it was a loss of 2 as a rush there on that previous one.
One of the challenges from the spread offense is to run a quarterback sneak. So now we're 3rd and 10 from the 10.
Back inside the 10. It looks like
actually inside the 10. Yeah.
Flecker looking to his right, fires, hits Gunderson, makes one man miss, but then a solid, sure tackle by the next man, Francis. That sophomore has been showing up nicely so far for the Falcons, and they will force what would appear to be a punting situation. So he makes a nice move on Bassett.
Makes a nice move. And the challenge there is you make a nice move and get the guy to miss, and then you've just got to accelerate as hard as you can. You can't keep dancing around because people are closing in on you at their full speed. So you've got to accelerate out of that first, make one move and accelerate as much as you can. You may not get the first down, but be a heck of a lot closer.
Sheldon punting here for the Royals, and this time he's back to a good one. Norman fielding it at the 47. He can go. Norman is not very big, but he gets to the outside, cuts it back. Got a flag down on the near side of the field. So this probably, we'll see. I doubt this whole return is going to count.
I would think that it would be
probably a block in the back.
But it came from way away from the football, on the opposite side of the field from where the ball actually was. So I don't know if there's maybe a personal foul away from the ball or something.
Norman listed at 5'7", 155, and to be honest, when he was running that one, he looked smaller than that.
Yes, he did.
Let's see what we've got for our penalty call here.
Maybe illegal block in the back. Yep.
Yes, it is. The good news for Armstrong is that it happened a ways into the return, so it doesn't, right. The yardage is still the same, but it's from the spot of the foul, so they'll still have it in Hopkins territory.
Yeah, still get pretty good field position. They've operated alternately from good to bad field position tonight, but right now they're enjoying a very nice field position for the start of this drive.
From the 47 of Hopkins, Fliss looking left, fires, hits Stoker, and he almost got away entirely there, and he will be down inside the 35 to about the 33. Give him another first down, a gain of 14.
Stoker does a nice job. Pretty good one-on-one effort by Hill. Hill not being the biggest guy, as you said, Jay. He's on the short side.
And I'm listed at 5'3".
5'3" and 131 pounds. I got one leg that's more than 131 pounds.
From the 33 now, first down, throwing down the sideline for Stoker, and it was out to the outside. I don't think Stoker was expecting that exact pass anyway, and so it falls incomplete, although those are the type of plays that, you wish you'd hit it, but I think it still can set some further things up when you get the cornerback having to respect that route.
Exactly, especially a shorter cornerback like Hill on a taller receiver. He's going to have to turn his back, and now Hill's got the taller of the two wide receivers for Armstrong.
Second down and 10. Fliss throwing and incomplete as he tried to go to Bowman. The rush being applied that time from the outside by Okoye for Hopkins.
Now that was pretty well played by Hopkins, and not a great pass by Fliss, but that time there was a situation where there was no safety in the middle of the field, and they had a zone the size of Texas open up for him.
3rd and 10 here. Looking for the screen to Sherwood, but Hill came up and met him and then gets some help, as Hopkins was definitely not fooled by that one. The way they played that one, you almost had the feeling that coming up to the line they were reminding each other to be ready for a screen, because they sure looked like they were.
And 2 linebackers really came after that one hard, Sheldon included.
So basically no gain on that play, maybe even a short loss for Armstrong. And they will bring on Jaeger into punting formation here, as they want to see if they can pin the Royals deep. It'll be timeout taken by Armstrong. I'm not sure they had 11 on the field. I don't think they did.
Have. Yeah, and in this situation, punting the ball in this situation, a lot of times what you'd like to do is, obviously, you'd like to angle the ball away from wherever the receiver is, but you'd like to get the ball on the ground and let it roll a little bit and see if the guy's going to try to field it off of the ground, or if you've got a kicker that can get like a wedge in golf, get a high lofting kick that comes almost straight down, that'll only travel about 15, 18 yards in the air. You got a good chance of pinning them deep inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, look a moment ago at Jack Nagan, and he's kind of an old school coach. He's going to let you know about it and loudly when you make a mistake. And I think there was somebody that hadn't stepped up to fill that spot on the punt team there, and he's an intense guy. He'll praise you when you need it, and he'll get after you when you need it too.
He'll admonish you for a mental mistake.
Jaeger trying to put one up high and see if he can get the kind of bounce he wants, but it won't. It's going to go into the end zone, so a touchback. And Hopkins dodging a bullet a little bit in terms of getting that stop where they did. Boy, if they had fallen behind even by more than what they're at now, it would have been a tough go.
Yeah, 3 scores is tough, but two touchdowns puts you back in the ball game, and it can happen quickly, as we saw with Armstrong. They scored on 2 consecutive plays. Really haven't done much offensively since. And Hopkins has moved the ball fairly well at times, but has been particularly stymied in their own zone a couple of times.
Well, and they've obviously got a couple of guys that are capable of breaking one also, so getting back into a game isn't unheard of for a team with a little bit of their speed. Here's Washington. Boy, Armstrong's done a really nice job on Washington, and you can make the case they haven't blocked especially well for him either, but they have been ready whenever he's taken a handoff, and that one he got back to about the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
On 1st and 2nd down, the Armstrong defense has done a very good job of taking the line of scrimmage away from the Hopkins offense. And that really, if you have an inside running game, particularly with a single back like that, it's very hard to get anything going. And that leaves you, long yardage situations where you have to throw the ball. And again, that can be problematic as well.
Flecker looking out to the right, throws, he was hit, and it is almost intercepted as Lionel Gates had it in his hands but couldn't come down with it. The ball may have been tipped at the line, or at least bothered on the throw. Yeah, he was hit as he threw it, and really fluttered out of there, a knuckleball, and Gates just overran it.
Yeah, and Gates took a pretty good hit by Vanderhoff, the intended receiver, make sure that ball stayed uncatchable. And it looks like Gates has got
some
kind of a wrist
injury.
Yeah. He may have gotten his hand bent between his body and Vanderhoff's body when they collided.
Yeah, he was taking a little look upfield. Looks like Coach Nagan is asking, was this a shot to the head by the receiver?
I don't believe it was. He hit him body to body, hit him with his chest, and
but the forearm came up into the jaw a little bit. You could make the case that the Armstrong player was down lower than he was initially going to be, because he was starting to react to the ball falling. But referee or the official, explaining to Coach Nagan, you see, it isn't so. He doesn't hit him helmet to helmet, but watch his forearm come up into the helmet or jaw here.
Oh, yeah.
But they did not spot it, and then it will be just an incomplete pass.
It didn't look like that was a particularly flagrant hit, and the bending of the hand and wrist probably an uncomfortable feeling, but probably he'll be able to bounce back and get back in the ball game.
3rd and 10 now for the Royals from the 20. They are down 17-0. And we got movement on the slot receiver here, Hill. And so mark off 5 against Hopkins.
And Hill moving. Of course, we always get receivers. Why are you moving? You don't go until the ball goes.
So he is subbed out as Colin Hammond comes in to replace him. 3rd and 15, Hopkins. And we've got another penalty.
Probably another procedure penalty. And indeed it is.
They'll mark off another 5 against the Royals. You might want to think about punting on 3rd down if we go back any further here.
You got to get all the way ball out to the 30. You got an awful long ways to go. There's still plenty of time in the half. Hopkins could probably get the ball back now at least once.
Flecker stepping up and now is going to be brought down as he tried to escape traffic, and Wozniak wasn't having any of it as he'll bring him down. And so now a punting situation, a short loss on the play as Flecker keeps on looking, and Wozniak coming in low and able to drag him down.
Yeah, as a quarterback, once you're trying to glide sideways or backpedal to throw the ball, you're toast. My opinion is he still needs to, once he gets out there on the flank like that, run like a scalded cat and make something happen.
Sheldon, a knuckler. Norman came up and has to watch this one bounce. And it will be down at the 49-yard line, so about a 40-yard punt there. Norman, I'm not sure. He was expecting something shorter. I looked up and he was 10 yards in front of that. So at that point, really no chance to field it. But still, again, great field position here for the Falcons, and obviously plenty of time. We got a little more than half the quarter to go as they try and build on a 17-0 lead.
The Hopkins defense has not played poorly the last 8-10 minutes. They really need to, but they have to step up and continue to keep pressure on Armstrong.
A much different set here, a little power look. They go to Sherwood, and that one goes nowhere. Loss of about 3 or 4. Armstrong trying to cross him up a little bit and come out with a heavy set and try and run the ball at Hopkins, and it did not work at all.
No, Hopkins had 9 guys in the box, and that meant that they had every gap covered with 1 guy, and they had 4 guys filling in where there aren't any gaps to pressure.
Looks like Armstrong is going to use its 2nd timeout. We're going to go down to Allie now for an injury update.
Yeah, Jay, we were watching Lionel Gates there come off the field, and as he was getting looked at by the trainers on the bench, they were really focusing on his rib area, but right now he's getting up off the bench, he's got a smile, and as he walked to the bench, the student section was singing happy birthday to him. So what a birthday present it would be if we see him back out here, which looks pretty probable as he just put on his helmet right now.
Thanks, Allie, and that's good to hear. And we saw him give the little wave up to his, friends or family in the crowd too, kind of indicating that he was okay as he, first came off there. So that's good.
Right.
Definitely good to hear. So 2nd timeout used here by Armstrong. I think they really thought they were going to catch Hopkins off guard by coming out with that tight formation and try and, at least for one play, maybe run the ball at him and get something, but it did not appear they were fooled.
And they have not been able to get Jesse Sherwood on track tonight.
No, neither. Both teams have a good running back that has really been shut down tonight.
And both defenses have really taken the running game out of the playbook right now.
2nd and 14. Fliss firing, and it is complete. And bounced down hard There on the reception is Tyler Everson for the Falcons. He is going to be a little bit short of the first down, but only about a yard short.
He makes a nice grab, good run after catch to get a pretty nice gain there. He's very close to the first down. They might want to measure it. Yeah, they are going to. Referee is going to call for a timeout. And
they've spotted this ball a good yard farther ahead than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
I think they may have made it actually after a second look.
We always used to say that's giving him the skid yardage. He got the yardage after he bounced off the floor.
Yeah, I thought he was down close to the 40, and they've got it inside the 39, and he makes it easily.
Makes the first down. So after the stuffed running play, the inside release.
And Everson, I think he was surprised he had as much room as he did. When he caught it, it was kind of like he's looking around for who's going to hit me and where, and which is good to be aware for that.
You want to be aware, but you got to run too. But he did a nice job. He did a really nice job after the catch.
So a first down at the Hopkins 38 here for Armstrong, trying to build on this 17-0 lead. Been kind of a strange game. They've had the two huge plays, and then after that, it's been Hopkins defense has been doing relatively well. But obviously when you give up a 95 and a 76, it's not been a great half. Here's Stoker down the sideline, shoved out right at the 31, it looks like, so give him a gain of 7. Bring up a second and short.
Stoker does a nice job after he gets his hands on the ball. He does a good job of turning upfield and running. Stoker's kind of another long, lean guy. He's 5'11", only 170 pounds. So he's
low snap, but Fliss handles it, gives it to Sherwood, and a little bit of room for him for the first time. Look at that leg drive. There's a good example. We talked about him before the game, about him being a good back, and he finally got to showcase it a little bit there as he just kept those legs moving, and he'll get about 8.
He gets hit first right there at the line of scrimmage, and every step of that 8 yards, he's getting bounced around by somebody. But like you said, Jay, he keeps his balance and he keeps his feet going, and ends up with a really nice play. That's kind of the Jesse Sherwood we were thinking we were going to see.
I was thinking
earlier.
Just that. I think he had more fun in that play than if it had been a huge hole. It was just to get himself going, bouncing off people and churning.
Breaking a tackle here and there.
They're going to go right back to him, and they'll pick up yardage inside the 20 to about the 19, so give him about 4. And sometimes you have to stick with the run, even if it's stuffed early. And I think Coach Potts, who was a great running back here at Armstrong, knows that, the offensive coordinator for the Falcons.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Jay. The running game takes time to develop. It takes time for the offensive line to get a feel for things and understand where the defense is, particularly with the way defenses move and attack the offensive line of scrimmage. But once you get it down, it seems to work pretty well.
Going to go back to Sherwood here, trying to bounce it out to the right side, and he may have enough for the first down here. They gave him 5 on that first down carry, and it looks like he'll have another 5, maybe 6, and should be a first down once they get things sorted out here.
Looks like he's going to be at about the 11-yard line, down to 12.
Well, they give it a look and say, yes, indeed, it is a first down for Sherwood and company. So Armstrong keeps the drive going here, already leading 17-0, 4:33 to go in the second quarter here on CCX Sports. Falcons fans will have your game again in 2 weeks against Cooper Hawks, who have a very good football team this year. That'll be an early start over at Cooper at 5 o'clock in 2 weeks. First and 10 from the 13. Fliss keeps it rolling right now, throwing, and it's batted around, almost caught by the second guy in as getting his hands on it after the initial deflection was Dorian Jarno.
And a nice collision by the D-back right at the peak of the ball. That's really a nicely played ball by the defense.
Yeah, Bowman, the intended target. Yeah. You're right, he got to the football at just the right time.
A little earlier, it's a pass interference. A little later, it might get caught.
So 2nd and 10 here. Somehow they gave him a 1-yard gain on an incompletion on the board there.
That happened.
Here is Sherwood taking the handoff, fighting through the first wave, and he is going to get there for the touchdown.
Yes, he did.
Nice run by Sherwood.
That's another one of those runs where he gets banged around pretty good almost every step of the way, but balance and leg drive keep him going into the end zone. Right here we see he makes a nice jump cut, bangs off of 2 defenders, breaks a tackle on a 3rd, and lunges into the end zone for the score. Makes it 23-0 with the extra point coming up.
Jager on for the extra point. The good rush came, but he got the kick up in a hurry, and it is good. And with 4:05 to go here in the second quarter, it becomes 24-0 Armstrong. I like at the end here, Sherwood knows he's going to go down, but he keeps the knee up long enough to push the ball, to stretch the ball over. You see it good from this angle that he realizes he's on the way down, but he keeps the knee above the fray until he's able to
he just
roll
rolls
over
and he protects the ball too, so that he's not going to drop the ball either.
So the Hopkins defense having to feel a little bit demoralized here. They had been stopping the run very well, but then Sherwood able to break a couple through, and you wonder if they're already wearing down a little bit too. And
they've been out on the field an awful lot tonight. And once you notice that once Jesse Sherwood got the one good run, that first 7-8 yard run, even though he was knocked around the whole time, every carry after that was positive yardage. Every carry after that he broke a tackle. And good running backs feed on that.
Jager will kick off. Last time he gave him one that was tough to handle. And again, it is same thing, overrun a little bit by Blakes, but he's able to get to it, and he'll be down around the 10 as he's had 2 in a row that have given him some difficulty there.
Yeah, he's struggling with that to try to catch the ball. And again, as I said on the previous kickoff return, trying to catch the ball above your head on a kickoff is very, very hard.
I think they're a little bit worried about it. If you bring the flankman back too far, though, that ball might land in front of them, and then be a little bit of a a free-for-all to get it.
Exactly, and that could be exactly it. But I'd rather have the guy deeper and catch the ball moving forward, or if the ball bounces at the 4, 5, 6 yard line, chances it's going to go into the end zone are pretty good. But if you try to catch it above your head, it's almost impossible for anything good to happen with it.
Spotted on the 9. Klecker's going to hand off to Washington. He was tripped up early on in the play. I think it was Wozniak got a piece of him in the backfield. He was able to fall forward, but
somebody just caught a toe or an ankle.
Yeah, that play could have went for a little more if not for that early penetration. 2nd and long now for Hopkins. 3 men in the backfield with Klecker now as they're looking to go to the run game a little bit. Washington takes the handoff. Brought down by Gerald Shepard there for Armstrong. Pretty nice gainer, though, as they're trying to get their run game going a little bit.
And getting a little bit of a power game going and, help their offensive line out, get a couple of blocks and let Washington do what he can do.
3rd and a long 2 now for Hopkins. Back to a 4-receiver set. Klecker wants to shovel pass again, and this time it works. Washington breaks a tackle and finally ridden down out over the 35 to about the 36, so they get a nice gainer there. Probably, all things considered, their best play of the night so far.
Exactly, and again, we get a glimpse of what Jaden Washington can be when he's doing well. He has a nice run after catch on that play.
Spotted on the 37 now as Klecker rolls to the left. Now steps up and he will take off and out to about the 43. We got about 2.5 minutes to go here in the half as Hopkins, you go from not wanting to punt it from way back deep to now you're feeling like, okay, we've advanced it up the field a little bit. Maybe we better take our shot.
And I think right there, he shows some maturity because he didn't have anybody to throw to. Instead of dancing around and getting sacked, he just tucked the ball and ran. And he's going to need to do that a few times before this game is over to keep that Armstrong defense a little more honest.
And Hopkins has to use a timeout, and Dan Hartog is not happy. I don't think that they were on the same page in terms of getting that play signaled in, and he did not want to have to use a timeout there. We talked about Coach Ning and getting a little upset. Coach Dan Hartog is actually one of the more mellow coaches that we deal with.
He's one of the quieter guys.
But you could tell right there, he was gritting his teeth. He wasn't happy to have to use that timeout.
But it's better to use the timeout. It's better to have the timeout and use it than get nailed with another delay penalty.
There you see.
Very demonstrative on the sideline. Yeah, Coach Dan Hartog does not express himself physically like that very often. You know that whatever it was that went wrong got his attention.
So a 2nd and 5 here, 2:12 to go in this first half. Hopkins down big, but trying to put a little bit of a march together. Flecker goes back to Washington, squirted through there. It looks like he might be just short of the first down, but not a bad gainer there on the left side.
Now he broke a tackle right at the line of scrimmage and got a lunge forward to make it 3rd and 1. So he had a gain of about 3 or 4.
Flecker rolling to his right. Now looking to run it, and he will pick up the first down. Goes down hard as Wozniak wraps him up, but he got a couple and moves the chains here for the Royals.
And that's just what they need to do. I've been yelling at Flecker to run the ball on those passing plays to loosen up the defense, and he's done it now, and he's getting his team in rhythm and keeping the ball moving towards the goal line.
Flecker looking left and short with that one. Trying to come back and meet it there for the Royals was Rayon Murph, but just clearly underthrown there. Flecker, I think his mechanics got a little bit away from him that time. Oh, a 2nd and 10. We have an injured Armstrong player there right on the midfield stripe.
Did I see that?
Yeah, it was not out near the ball, so I didn't really see what happened. Armstrong built a 14-0 lead in the first quarter on 2 long pass plays, 2 very different ones. One was about an 8-yard completion, and then another 87 or so on the run, a 95-yard play in all for Bowman.
Right.
From Fliss, and then they had a bomb up the middle where Nassim Lozier broke it free and went down for a 76-yard touchdown. So looks like Matthew Brown able to get up and walk off there for the Falcons. Let's hope that he'll be able to come back and rejoin the fray, at least in the second half, if not right away here in the first. 2nd and 10 now as Flecker and crew come back out to the line of scrimmage. They've moved the ball from their 9 out to the 48. And still time left, although they have to be conscious of the clock at 1:26. One timeout remaining for each side. Flecker throws an incomplete over the middle as he tried to hook up with Wayne Blakes.
He just got a little too much on that one. Blakes was just starting to get himself free of the defensive back, and ball just was a little too much, a little too far. But now you got 3rd and 10. Now you've got to not only pay attention to the clock, but you got to pay attention where the line to gain is as well.
Safety is playing back deep here for Armstrong. They just want to avoid giving up something real big. Flecker throwing and incomplete as he looked out there again for Blakes.
And Blakes saw the safety coming, and that ball was overthrown.
Boy, and a nice job by Bessick to not light him up there.
Yeah.
He wanted to, but he knew it would have been a penalty. And he just got a little hand slap from Coach Negan there for pulling him back and not hitting the receiver there.
Yeah, but if he hits him when he's vulnerable like that.
Looks like they're going to go for it here.
You have to. With a minute to go, you're not going to get the ball back if you punt it. But Klecker's got to find a receiver and hook up with. He's had open receivers. He just has to find them and then get the ball to him.
And a delay of game against Hopkins. Unable to get the snap out in time.
I don't know what the problem with their getting the play in. They're having trouble getting the play in and getting set up and then doing something with it. So now the penalty makes it a 4th and 15. Now you're deeper inside your own zone, even with just a minute and 14 seconds to go in the half. You have to punt it.
Sheldon on to kick again here for Hopkins. Norman waiting back deep for the Falcons. Good snap and plenty of time here as he kicks a high boot. And this one, let's see, gonna skip out of bounds inside the 10. So another nice punt there for Sheldon of the Royals. It'll be down at the 8-yard line. 1:05 to go here for Armstrong.
Well, Sheldon got every bit of that one.
Yeah, nearly a 50-yard punt.
And went out of bounds, no return. Of course, the return man was way up again. I know you like to think, well, if that guy kicks a 10-yarder or a 20-yarder, I'm going to be able to catch it. But it's where you have to know. You have to know your return guys have to know what the kickers are capable of, and you start at their best distance and work forward. You don't start at their worst distance and move back.
Fliss going to hand off up the middle here. Sherwood takes that handoff. Armstrong, I think, now going to try and be content to run this clock out and get into the halftime with a big lead. Timeout taken by Hopkins.
Yeah, you've got one timeout. You might as well use it. Your chances of getting the ball back now are rather slim.
But you never know. You're thinking turnover here more than anything.
Exactly. And you want to.
Well, here's a look. We've seen big schedule changes for both of these teams. As last year, Hopkins was in the West Metro District, and tell me where you're going to find a tougher group of teams to be playing. And that's kind of where they had been these last several years. And tough to get a program going in that. Meanwhile, Armstrong, a lot smaller schools, granted some really good football teams. You look at teams like Cooper Benilde was a state champion. Cooper and Armstrong both beat Benilde during the regular season last year. Spring Lake Park was in the Prep Bowl in 5A. So now things switch around a little bit. It's 4 pretty big schools, but that have not been super successful in football in recent years, kind of grouped together. So obviously you've only got 3 games against others in your own sub-district, but they're in the other district. So a lot of new opponents to prepare for there for everybody this year in that grouping.
And I think that makes it exciting.
Hand off up the middle here, and Sherwood will be brought down short of the first down, but another decent gainer there.
And they'll run maybe one more play. Ball's been snapped in. Now they don't have to run another play now.
And if the Falcons coaches recognize that, I think they'll just have them.
Yeah, there's no sense even taking the snap if you don't have to. Unless they just have.
Yeah, it was close. I don't know that they necessarily.
Fliss will just kneel down, I would think. No, maybe not.
Handoff goes to Sherwood, makes a move, gains enough for the first down, but that's going to presumably bring us to the end of the half. They've got to stop the clock to move the chains.
Right.
But it's still not going to be another play snapped here as Sherwood will pick up 4 more. So pretty dominant first half here for the guys in red.
Yeah, second week in a row they've had a 20-plus point lead at halftime.
And you can bet that they're going to talk about that a little bit at halftime, how they they built a big lead last week against Spring Lake Park in came out and maybe weren't as intense, and they gave the Panthers credit too. They put together a heck of a drive to begin the third quarter. All of a sudden, things flip around a little bit and things are a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Those big plays really hurting Hopkins. Obviously, like we talked about the first quarter, you give up a couple of enormous plays like that. It can be tough to bounce back, especially when you've already started 0-2. I mean, it's only human nature. You start to get a little discouraged too.
Exactly, and you start to grouse about stuff and everything like that.
Let's go down to the field with Allie.
Thanks, Jay. Coach, I assume you're not thrilled with that first half performance, 24 unanswered points. What happened there?
Yeah, we're still making a lot of mistakes. Like I said before, we're pretty darn young, and we get out there and get our feet tangled up, and we're jumping off sides, and we're running the wrong direction. I got to try to get the kids to calm down and try to, understand what we're trying to do. And they're more talented what they've shown, so I hope we can come out and give a better showing here in the second half.
How do you get these guys to take control of that line of scrimmage for you?
Yeah, we just got to keep working at it. I think we didn't communicate very well at the line of scrimmage, and we've got a good running back, but we haven't got many holes. So, we're hoping that here in the second half, it's a hot day, so we're hoping they wear down a little bit, and we can have a few good things happen.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you, Allie, and thanks to Coach Den Hartog. A pretty calm, measured response there. Obviously, a disappointing first half. Our score at halftime is 24-0 Armstrong. Our coverage continues in a moment on CCX Sports.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Welcome back here to Armstrong. Falcons up big. Their marching band's going to get to perform at the Gopher game on Saturday, and we're seeing them in action here tonight at Armstrong as well. Enjoy.
We'll be headed down to the University of Minnesota to participate in the U of M High School football band today performing in the halftime show at CCF Bank Stadium. This year's halftime show features the music of Cirque du Soleil. Founded in 1984 by two former street performers, this organization has grown into a worldwide phenomenon, performing for almost 90 million spectators in over 200 countries. Our first selection is sorted from the show La Nuba, which makes its home at Downtown Disney in Orlando, Florida. Drum majors, is your band ready? Until 2016, when it was retired, we will conclude our portion of the halftime show with Incantation.
rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Welcome back here to Armstrong High School. 24-0 Armstrong at halftime of this one here as they lead the Royals, and we'll take a look at some first half highlights. And obviously by that score, mostly going to be Armstrong stuff. Tyler Fliss rolling to the right, throwing on the run. He was able to find his fullback for a nice gainer and a first down early in the contest. And then here's the first touchdown. The catch made by Bowman, but Hopkins unable to wrap up. They basically just spin him forward, and then the race is on. He gets just enough of a little bit of a block there from Lozier and able to finish off a 95-yard pitch and catch there. Made it 7-0. Hopkins with Flecker coming back, taking off here and able to get some yardages before he's popped out of bounds up the sideline. It looked like at times Hopkins might get something going, but then the deep throw here, Fliss, and Lozier waiting, and that one nestles right into his arms, and he goes the rest of the way, 76 yards. That one was only about 3 minutes after their first touchdown. It made it 14-0 Falcons after one quarter. Jagger, their excellent kicker, drilling through a short field goal early in the second quarter to make it 17-0. And then they get a run late in the half, or relatively late, 4 minutes to go in the half from Sherwood as he finishes off a nice drive. He had a nice run a moment before that, and he was able to run that one in. And then a nice shovel pass to Washington as Hopkins finally got him untracked a little bit, running the ball, but also that one a short pass.
Exactly.
And but not a whole lot doing for the Royals. You see the stats heavily in favor of Armstrong in that first half. The only turnover was a fumble by Sherwood, but it did not end up hurting the Falcons. Hopkins hurt by penalties a little bit as well. We will come back with more of our live coverage here of high school football, Hopkins and Armstrong, next here on CCX Sports.
Love is love.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Much like last week, a great start for Armstrong, and they'll try and continue it in the second half. We will hear from Coach Negan now with Ellie.
All right, Coach, an impressive first half, 24-point shutout. We talked about defense before the game. Your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, you know, we're playing well, and I really think we played well the first 2 weeks in the first half. We're young, and we haven't come out well and finished. We haven't been very disciplined in the second half, so we've got to focus on that.
What would you like to see differently from your guys in the second?
I'd like to see us be smart, disciplined, and, you know, I mean, we're just getting better every week. We're young guys, so another week, and so we've got to learn to finish out games.
Sounds good to me, Coach. Go get your guys.
Thanks, Allie, and obviously, coaches, you never relax even a little bit about having a lead like that, and especially when it happened a week ago, too, where they saw the other team rally on them a little bit.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, at halftime, they spent a good amount of time talking about finishing the game, keeping the momentum, keeping the pressure on the Hopkins team, both offensively and defensively. Don't be satisfied with what's happened so far. It's a new half. All those, you know, some of those cliches actually are true. And you just want to get the guys fired up to come out in the second half. And they are not without their own mistakes. They had two huge passing plays that really set the tone of the game, but until really late in the second quarter, their offense was kind of stumbling and bumbling around. They got a little bit of a momentum push there at the end, but really need to, you know, they do have some things to work on. It's not a finished product by any stretch.
It was interesting talking to Jack before the game, too. He talked about how their coaches were frustrated with how they let Spring Lake Park in the game last week. And everybody else, you know, they're congratulating them. Spring Lake Park's a team that they have not been able to beat.
Right.
And it's still a win over that team. He said it was kind of an odd juxtaposition there, as that, you know, they were upset and felt like they hadn't finished strong, but everybody else was pretty pumped up that they had gotten it done.
Yeah. And like they said, that they had in the third quarter, they snapped the ball offensively one time. Well, you cannot develop any offensive consistency when you don't have the football in your hand.
Hey, 3 minutes.
We are going to take another timeout here as the Royals were a little bit tardy coming out before the second half. We will let them warm up, and we will come back with our third quarter here on CCX Sports.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
and we get set for our quarter number 3. It will be Hopkins getting the football here to begin the second half. And Bill, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, they need to really get something going, I think, on this very first drive, if nothing else for their own confidence
Exactly.
level.
Yeah, and you know, they figured a few things out during the latter part of the second quarter, and now they've got to put that learning to use, and they've just got to lay their ears back and go a little bit harder too. You know,
Jager booting this one. It's juggled around a little bit and then caught at the 10 by Wayne Blakes. And the Royals will have decent field position just shy of the 30-yard line here at about the 29 as they begin the second half. Flecker completed 6 out of 18 in that first half, and he will begin this drive here at, as we said, his own 29. Going to go to Washington. Washington trying to spin out of a tackle, but a nice job of hanging on there. As coming up to meet him for the Falcons was Shepard. Really nice open field tackle on a pretty good running back.
Yeah, and not a bad gain. You know, you figure you've got to get 3.3 yards per snap, and that's just about it.
You got about 3 on that one. Back to the ground. Washington, a nice cut, and he will have enough for the first down over the 40 to about the 41. Boy, you got to look at him, and that cut was something.
Boy, there's a pair of shoes out there at the 35-yard line. Nobody knows who they belong to, but somebody was juked right out of them. That was just an excellent cut.
We're way up here with a nice vantage point, and it fooled me. I was leaning the wrong way even up here.
You would have missed the tackle, Jay.
From the 41 now, Flecker looking to throw it to the left. A little flip, and he gets it out complete. And then a big collision as Blake's. Like a couple guys coming together there, and watch Blake's kind of bounce off. They'll be a little bit short of the first down. And he turns upfield, and hello.
Boom. Yeah, that was a nice collision. But a nice pitch and catch. And Flecker did a nice job with that one. He looked like he was going to run. As soon as the defense started to move up to stop the run, he flipped it over the defender and got a pretty good gain.
Oh, and a nice job cutting in. Wozniak gets there early and blows that one up. Washington, as soon as he took the handoff, had to make a cut, and you see he goes nowhere there.
He almost spun out of that initial hit, and Wozniak did a really good job of staying with the tackle and grabbing Washington's ankle as he spun. Now we got 3rd and 5.
Wozniak coming on the rush here, throw, and Hill can't hang on. He was running before he had it there, and that one looked like it was going to be a first down and maybe a big play for the Royals.
The way. And all Hill could see was the grass, which is why he didn't catch the football.
The fake grass.
Yep.
They are going to go for it here, or at least line up that way. Maybe try and draw Armstrong offside, or maybe actually go for it. They're down by this margin.
Might as well.
Yeah, really, no reason not to. Flecker firing quick and wide open over the middle. The completion there to Blakes. Wayne Blakes breaking free before Bessick knocks him out of bounds inside the 30.
Again, a nice pitch and catch. Well done by both Flecker and Blakes. And Blakes does a nice job of running after the catch. He gets about 15 yards, closer to 20 yards after the catch. Makes that a really nice play.
So Hopkins with it just inside the Armstrong 30. And they hand it off to Washington, and Wozniak meets him again. Looks like he is dialed into, I'm going where number 9 goes here. And a short loss on the play.
Yeah. And again, a nice play by Wozniak, and you're really well done. I mean, when you've got a single back in there, you don't have anybody to fake to, and you don't have a back to block for you, and the one linebacker can key on that guy. It means you got to get blocking to the second level to make that work.
Fake, and then he spins out. Flecker avoiding the rush initially, then he gets blasted. He has a man wide open, but it's incomplete. Gunderson was standing there waiting, but Flecker was under intense pressure and not able to float that one up enough for him to get it. Watch him get drilled here.
And Gunderson needs to just keep moving. He stopped and tried to jump for that, where if he keeps moving, he might have a chance to make that play.
Yeah,
but there
I think
was,
by that point it was over his head and out of bounds.
There was nobody in the county with him on that one. He was all by himself.
When the Armstrong D watches that film, they say, we got away with one there because he was all alone.
That was a touchdown waiting to happen right there.
3rd and long. Looking to set up a screen. Catch made, and unable to break free there fully was Hammond. He made a nice little move initially, but there were just a lot of red jerseys around him. He'll only pick up a couple.
Yeah, that was a well set up screen, but it was also well defended at the initial point, and Hammond really didn't have much of a choice, except once he caught the ball, they have to avoid the initial hit, and then the pursuit caught him.
4th and 10 now for Hopkins. They were able to convert on one not too long ago. Dwayne Blakes. Looking the other way this time, and the throw, it's not going to be enough for the first down. They get the catch, but Vanderhoff had to go to his knees to secure that ball, and that'll leave him a couple yards short of the first down.
And that was a first down. He had the yardage if he doesn't go down on his knees. He had to, but that's kind of the Hopkins offense in a nutshell right there. 2 or 3 really nice plays, a couple of little mistakes, a completed pass on 4th and 10 for 9.
Yeah, any other down than 4th and 10, you would be okay with that play. But the throw led Vanderhoff to have to do what he did, as you said.
And that was a nice catch. He was going down, made a nice grab.
So Armstrong gets it back on the 21. Fliss handing it off. Sherwood, a big gap to run through, and it finally dragged down, but he will have enough for the first down, it would appear. As they got him, much like Washington, late in the first half, Sherwood finally got some room to run and broke some tackles and got some things going.
And he's the kind of a runner that once he gets a rhythm, once he gets a feeling for what's going on, he's going to get stronger as the game goes on. And they're just going to, they can be content to use up a lot of clock. They don't have to do a lot of scoring.
Back to Sherwood it goes, met there by Chicolas. Not a whole lot of gain, and now a very late flag comes in.
One from both sides of the formation. I wonder if there's a little chippiness or something going on.
Yeah, you'd have to believe this might be
a very late hit or a hit to the face.
That's what I'm thinking, unsportsmanlike or personal foul with as late as that flag came in. Looks like it's going to be against Hopkins, according to the Armstrong players anyway. Yeah, dead ball, foul, personal foul.
Yeah, probably a hit to the face, an open hand to the face or something like that.
You see the tackles made, and you're thinking things are pretty well done, and I don't know. No, if it was right there or not. It might have been away from that.
Yeah, away from where the football was. There's certainly nothing in the tackle and getting up off the tackle that would have spurred 2 flags, and one came from the referee and one came from the bag judge. Opposite ends of the geography for the officiating crew.
So that's a big one for Armstrong and a bad one for Hopkins as they were trying to get a stop and get the ball back. 1st and 10 at the 49 now. Fliss blasted and the pitch gets away. Sherwood's going to have to fall on it. Oh boy. Fliss got lit up and they'll lose big. That's about a 15-yard loss or close to it.
And DeLawrence.
DeLawrence Aaron.
Boy, he had perfect form tackle on Fliss just as he's getting rid of the ball, and Sherwood does the exact right thing. That ball's bouncing around. Doesn't make any difference how many yards you lost. You get on it. You don't want to turn the ball over there.
Back to the 35, a loss of 14 on the play, and I don't think Armstrong will be calling that one again anytime soon. Fliss looking to throw. 2 receivers there, and it is caught by one of them.
Wow.
And that probably wasn't how that was designed, but Bowman will haul it in. And they'll get back to the yardage +1.
Right. Well, it's 3rd and 9. Still 3rd and long, but much more doable than 24.
Got about 15 on that last play, and they come to the line quickly. Keep Hopkins from subbing, if nothing else here. Fliss steps up and throws. Completion made to Stoker, but he's going to be out of bounds short of the first down marker by a couple, it looks like.
Yeah, about 2 yards short of the first down. Nice little out pattern. It looks like Armstrong's going to decide to punt the ball, kick it down, get Hopkins deeper in the zone. The rest of the game, I think we'll see a lot of field position by Armstrong, try to control the clock. And when they get their opportunities to do something, they would like to be able to take advantage of it.
Jaeger on to punt. Hill waiting back deep at about his 15. Ooh, a rush coming. Jaeger, though, gets it out of there. High kick, and it is going to bound into the end zone. So 43-yard punt, but 23 net, and then we get a flag at the end of the play against Armstrong.
Probably.
Hopkins guys were celebrating it, and somebody getting a stern talking to for the Falcons right now as they got involved in some little extracurricular at the end of the play there.
As we say, virtually every week when we see something like this, it's the second guy. Somebody makes a hit right towards the end of the play, a little push or shove, and then the guy that shoves back is the one that gets seen, and that gets called.
It's a dead ball personal foul against Armstrong. So 15-yard mark off, and Hopkins will start in much better field position than they were going to.
Coach Nagin said he wanted to see, development of the discipline and things like that. And that's a little breakdown in discipline. The guy was 30 yards from where the ball was happening. It was way away from the play, and a little lack of discipline, and that cost him 15 yards. In a tight game, that could cost you a ball game.
So they'll spot it on the 35 now. Flecker got a nice drive going last time, but it stalled. He'll turn and hand it off. Not a whole lot doing on the left side that time as Washington on the carry. About a yard gain for the Royals.
Now Hopkins is really moving their linebackers around very well, particularly after the snap, and they're very tough to block the second level for the Hopkins offense.
And a flag
on
down
the far
here.
side. Either somebody moved or somebody stepped into the neutral zone.
And it will be against Hopkins. Receiver way out there on the left side, I believe, was
That's unusual. Yeah, because usually when the receivers come out wide like that and everybody's forming up, if they're way offside, the linesman will just say, back up, son, rather than throw the flag.
Flecker looking right. It's tipped at the line and will fall incomplete. They've been getting pretty good push all night long. He's taken a lot of hits, and they've been, getting up. It hasn't been a comfortable pocket very often. And see if we can get a look. Yeah, it's the 6'6" guy that you commented earlier, Tyler Peterson, getting his hand up on that one.
Yeah, tall guy like that, it's hard to get the ball over his hands.
3rd and 14 now for Hopkins. Flecker pulls it down. He's got some space. And he'll have the first down and then blasted, and flags will fly as they'll rule that hit was a little late out of bounds, it looks like. He's going to get the gainer and then the 15 at the end.
And he does a really nice job right there. Oh yeah, he was clearly out of bounds when he was struck. A big conversation over on the Hopkins sideline. We see one of the Falcons a little bit cramped up there. That's Joe Norman with the leg cramp on the sideline there.
So this penalty, I believe, is going to be enforced at the end of the run, so they're going to be pushed a ways into Armstrong territory.
You're going to go down inside the 40.
Hard for me to tell. My first initial thought was that it wasn't all that clear cut that he was out of bounds. I don't know. I thought it was close.
Yeah.
See it again here.
See, he's out of bounds there. He stepped on the line, just past the line to gain, and then got lit up as he was out of bounds.
But he's still running at that point.
Exactly.
To me, it's a little hard for the defender to know that there was a toe that went out of bounds.
The whistle's got to blow
that
it.
part, yeah, that part of it we can't tell when the whistle.
We couldn't hear the whistle, but.
So Norman will make his way to the side, and it definitely seemed to be cramps by how they were dealing with it. So Royals football, 1st and 10 at the 39 of Armstrong here as they try and get on the board, down 24-0 about midway through this third quarter. Flecker wants that shovel pass again, and it's into traffic. That's an incomplete forward pass. Maybe going to the well once too often, perhaps there.
Yeah, there were like 7 red jerseys right around the running back there. So that one might want to put back in the notebook for another week.
When those time out well, they're very deceptive and they look really good. But I've always felt it's kind of dangerous. Oops, we got somebody getting an early start out there for the Royals.
I don't understand wide receivers moving out there. All they have to do is see the ball. Once they see, all they have to do is look at the ball. When the ball moves, they go. They don't have to hear the snap count. A lot of times they can't hear the snap count. So, especially when you have a team that comes up to the line and there's calls being made, changing the play or setting the play, whatever it is.
Flecker looking deep down the left sideline, and it is incomplete. It was going to be out of bounds anyway. He was trying to go to Murph.
One thing I'm surprised that Hill has been targeted only a couple of times. He had one fatal drop there, but he's kind of been their go-to guy for receptions, and he's only had 1 or 2 catches.
Yeah,
tonight.
a couple catches early.
You know, and you know they can clear. There's a slant that they used Hill to clear on.
Caden sacks, and the ball is a little behind him there, and he couldn't reach back and grab it.
Right. Not a great ball, but not that poorly thrown. But still, when your momentum is going one way and the ball's the other way, you cannot stop in mid-stride and make a 180-degree turn.
So 4th and 15 for the Royals now. Looked like they were getting something going after Flecker had run for that first down and then had a 15-yarder tacked down as he was hit late out of bounds. But now a long situation to go here. Flecker looking now to tuck it and run. And fighting, but he's not going to get there. He tried to run over Norman, who's not very big. Norman got enough of him to get him to the ground. He kind of took the worst of that collision, but it was still good enough.
But you see how much he gained. He's only a yard or 2 short on 4th and 14. It's a great lunge there. He ends up a yard short. that 5-yard penalty cost them 4 yards. It cost them a first down, cost them a possession. Those little niggling penalties are painful.
So the Falcons get a stop. They get the football back on their 35, still leading 24-0. Handoff goes up the middle here and wrestled down. Handoff was to Gates that time. Leandre Gates will pick up about close to 5, or more, maybe 4.
Good first down play.
Yeah, you're in a spot where you're Armstrong right now. It's a long time to just sort of sit on the lead and protect it, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're using clock and not turning the ball over. So we might see a little, conservative offense this second half.
And incomplete passes just keep the clock in the favor of your opponent. But now Hopkins is playing this smart. Defensively, they're putting 8-9 guys up on the line of scrimmage. And they're saying if you want to run it, you're going to have to run it through all of us, which is going to force the pass, which means that changes, that's the way the defense can change the tempo of what the offense is trying to do.
No gain for Gates on that one, so 3rd and 6, and it looks like an offside here against the Royals. Still not going to quite be enough for a first down, it would appear. Ninth accepted penalty against Hopkins.
There's way too many, and they've all been costly little penalties. They haven't. But every one of those little penalties, those little 5-yarders, as we can see right here, now instead of being 3rd and 6, you're 3rd and 1. Well, it's a whole different type of football play that gets called.
Gates trying to bounce it outside, but it's not going to happen. Matthias Harris coming up with a nice play there for the Royals. Really kind of an open field play as they try to cut it to the outside.
Really nice one-on-one open field tackle, making sure he got contact, brought the runner down with a good arm wrap, forcing a punt. Hopkins will get the ball back with right around 3 minutes to go in the quarter.
Jager on to punt here for Armstrong. They got a pretty good rush on him last time, and here they come again, but he's again able to get that ball out of there. Hill just got it on the fingertips at the 22. Got by the first wave, and then he is down out over the 25 to about the 27 or so, and Hopkins will get it back. You see he almost had that one fall to the ground.
He caught the back half of the ball there. Well defended there. Yeah, nicely done by Tyler Peterson again, making Hill turn up rather than let him get around the corner and out to the sideline.
Armstrong's done a pretty good job of staying in their coverage lanes too on pick coverage. First down play, Flecker the handoff, and there's Peterson getting there again. He's making his presence felt as he drops Washington for a loss.
Yeah, those inside linebackers, including Peterson and Wozniak, have really corralled that running game for the most part tonight. I'm sure it's very frustrating for Washington to get the handoff and then get wrapped up right away.
2nd and long. Flecker rolling to his right now, throws back across the middle, and it is caught by Blakes. Bessick hangs on tight, and it looks like he might have, well, it's going to be close. I didn't say he might have stopped him short of the first down, but we'll have to see.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like he'll have the first down.
Yep.
Pretty strong hands, though, as he holds on to him here.
Yeah.
And then got help.
And Flecker does a nice job of getting his feet set, so instead of throwing the ball across his body, he gets his shoulder turned and makes a nice throw. If he throws across his body, that ball's going to float and get away from him.
Flecker holding on and then throws complete over the middle. And a nice gainer there, and taking a hard hit was Murph.
Yeah, Brayon Murph does a nice job Flecker does a nice job. He realizes he can't run. Ooh, that was
that could have been 15 against Bessick. Pretty easy right there.
I saw that one get called a lot last year on the Gophers.
There's Washington, and he'll have enough for the first down. Not too badly defended, but they only needed a couple, and Washington will pick up enough for the first down. So at their own 49. Again, Hopkins putting together some drives. I mean, they only trail Armstrong by 1 first down tonight, even though you look at that score, just because it's been big plays. They've moved the ball some, but just not enough. And they've been hurt by penalties, obviously, too, in some crucial spots.
9-10 penalties will slow you right down.
And they'll hand off up the middle. Pickup of about 3 more. And that time the ball carried by Willie Blakes this is. Gets about to the 48 of Armstrong. Flecker looking left with it, and he throws. Was it held on to? Yes. But having to go to the ground on the catch was Hammond.
And again, the ball that's nicely thrown, but just a tad low, and Hammond is not able to keep his balance and not able to get anything after, even though he is open, not get anything after the catch.
3rd and 3 as we tick toward the end of this third quarter. Going to go with the quick toss back to Blakes. Blakes cutting it up hard. He'll have the first down and more down the sideline. He might go. Blakes toward the corner, and he's going to be marked just short of the end zone, down to the 1.
My goodness, that was really well executed and really a nice run. You get a couple of good blocks out here in the flank. Blakes makes a nice cut with his left foot there and just out accelerates everybody.
See, they just get shoved by Bessick.
Bessick
right.
Just got enough.
Jumbo backfield set in there. The 2 linemen up in front are big guys anyway. Chicolas was one of them, and he's cut down. Blakes doesn't quite make it to the line of scrimmage as looks like Troy Casperson in there defensively. The quarter will come to an end. Hopkins on the doorstep, but still trailing. It's Armstrong 24, Hopkins nothing.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow. Oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
We begin the 4th. Hopkins on the doorstep. 2nd and goal to go from the 1. They've got 2 large blocking backs in front of Blakes here. They'll hand it off again. He's met, but drives forward, and haven't seen a signal yet. Hopkins thinks he's in. And it is a touchdown. Blake's able to break the plane despite pretty good penetration there. And Hopkins gets on the board. See, he gets hit right away by Wozniak, but he keeps driving and then ends up falling forward.
And does a good job of getting the football over the goal line, making the play.
Looks as though the Royals intend to go for 2. Obviously, they need 8, 8, and 8 to catch up. So
it's very hard to get 3 two-point conversions, but you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's even harder to try and score 4 times, which they would have to do if they're kicking here. So Flecker throwing out the flat and incomplete. Had a man there, but just not quite able to put it on him there, as that was Wayne Blake's. So the pass fails, and it stays 24-6 now in favor of Armstrong. And it's early in the 4th quarter, but are you going onside kick here if you're the Royals?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think I'd want to give my defense one opportunity. You know, I don't know how good the kicker is. His first kickoff of the game was so-so. If you can get the ball to the right spot on the field.
They've done a pretty good job of holding Armstrong, you know, in this 3rd quarter. On the other side of the coin, though, you know, time isn't really in their favor.
No, you've got to get the ball. You've got to have the ball 3 possessions. So, and you have to score on every one. But you have to get 1 possession before you can get 2 and 3. So,
Andrew Adabodea, an exchange student who just joined the team, as their kicker. And he's going to kick it away. Norman drifting back, takes this kick, and he is dropped at about the 30-yard line. So they do indeed kick it away and try and get a quick 3 and out would be their plan of attack.
That would be their ideal situation, as it were.
Both teams do have 3 timeouts remaining too, which, you know, can be a factor.
Into play. Yep. But I think the Hopkins defense, they were nice and aggressive in the 3rd quarter. They really took the running game away as much as they could, and we'll see what the Falcons do now with their offense.
Fliss, a little short, safe throw to Stoker. Stoker is driven out of bounds at about the 40. This will be close. I don't think he has quite enough for the first down, but if he's awful close.
Yeah, it really is. It's right about the line to gain, and that's almost as effective as a run. Yeah, quick release pass, particularly when the corner on the short side of the field here is playing 7-8 yards deep.
Yeah, it is going to be a first down too.
It is a first down, so you got.
You know what else I like too there, Bill? It didn't work out, but I think Stoker, it looked like he was fighting hard to stay inbounds on that play. Obviously, the clock would stop for first down anyway, but then you restart it.
Exactly.
And he was, you know, playing heads-up football there. It looked like he was trying to avoid going out of bounds. They'll throw again. This time going to go over the top looking for Stoker, and incomplete. Oh, a flag comes in very late as Orlando Thomas was back there defending, and Thomas is shaken up too.
Yeah, I think he just got a kind of a, it looked like he got a kind of a cramp, and I'm enough of a defensive guy that I'm not sure that was a pass interference, but I'm not making the call.
That is indeed the call. Those are tough ones when the ball's thrown up a little bit short like that, and then the receiver's kind of reaching for it. I could have seen that one go either way, I guess. I can kind of see the reason for the penalty too.
Yeah, the defender has to know where the football is. If the defender is playing the football, that kind of collision isn't going to be called a foul.
So first down at the Royals 45. Hopkins, I think, figuring that we can't just sit on the lead and hand off every play and expect to hold on. It's going to be Fliss keeping it after he faked the handoff. He got a good stiff arm, and Fliss down the sideline will have the first down. Most of the Royals thought that Sherwood was going to get this ball. Fliss keeps it, but watch him with a stiff arm here. He's got a tackler ready to come get him, and he pushed him away.
And got a really nice gain. Got about a 19 or 20 yard gain there.
From the 33 now. Low snap. Fliss throws an interception. Oh, wait a minute. We got it.
Yeah.
Was he down? Yeah, his knee was down as he caught it.
Yep.
Still a great play, though, for the Royals as they will get the pick. Demetrius Patton on the catch. Yeah, he did go to a knee. No alert officiating there, but a big mistake that could have been even much worse for Armstrong
my gosh, that
right
could have
there.
been a
That could have
pick
been,
six.
he could have been gone.
Well, again, the turnover goes for Hopkins.
There you see,
His
just
left
went
knee
to
went
the knee.
down. Yep. But the turnover, the stop of the drive is more important than where his knee was. Hopkins' offense is coming off of a score, getting the ball back.
They'll start on their 26, go to the ground on first down, and
call.
Washington will be out over the 30. Pickup of about 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, you got.
And we've got an
about 4 or
Armstrong
5.
player down on the field with an injury here. Could be a cramping situation again, the way it looks.
Yeah, we had a warm day today, but it's a quite comfortable evening tonight. It's, once the sun went down, it's cooled down pretty nicely. And
here's what we'll have for you next Friday. Football telecast as Osseo pays a visit to Champlin Park. Rebels got off to a great start. They were in the state semifinals last year. Of course, Osseo 2 years ago, Class 6A champion. Last year had a tough year. And they're 1-1 coming into tonight. Champlin Park was 2-0 coming into tonight. We'll be there next week in the home of the Rebels. So getting up and making his way off is Shepard. And again, 2 weeks from now, we'll be seeing Armstrong again against their district rival Cooper, who last I heard was putting it on Spring Lake Park pretty good tonight.
Ooh. Yeah, Cooper probably will try to take advantage of anything Spring Lake Park will give him after the last couple of years.
Yeah, really been their nemesis. 2nd and 5. Flecker throwing out in the flat. Catch made, but falling down as he made the catch was Blake's. And obviously in high school and college ball, once you're down, you're down. No getting
exactly.
up.
Yep.
So really not much of a gain, if anything, there. So 3rd down for the Royals. Still not completely out of this game at an 18-point margin here.
You got to get one score before you get the second, and yeah, you kind of obviously dug a hole for yourself, but.
Flecker under pressure, throwing, and it is incomplete as he was dumped as he tried to get that ball out. They had a matchup they wanted, a linebacker out on the receiver.
And that was the right place. I was the right guy to throw to. It just didn't get completed. That's tough because now you're 4th and 5. This is where it's tough as for a coach. You've got to get 3 scores. You're not going to get the ball back 3 times. You turn the ball over now in your own zone, and you're in pretty tough shape.
Flecker wants a screen, and it is dropped and incomplete as getting off to the races before he really had it was Murph. Hard to tell if he was going to get enough for the first down or not. He
had a lot of momentum, but he took his eyes off of looking at the football right before it hits him. And that's the result 99 times out of 100. When you don't watch the ball all the way in and complete the catch, and you start running before you've secured the ball. We always told the guys, catch the ball, read the label, and then run.
So Armstrong gets it on downs in Hopkins territory at about the 31. And there is Bowman trying to leap over a tackler. Wow. Kind of a dangerous one there.
Yeah. Don't worry, Mom, I can fly. Watch. That's really, really nicely executed. Might want to make a steeplechase guy out of him. Bowman did a nice job. He got the first touchdown. He's wanting to see what I can do the second time here.
2nd and 4 for the Falcons. Going to come back to their bread and butter, Sherwood, and it looks like he will be very close and should have the first down just inside the 20. And Armstrong right here, I mean, as much as you'd like more points, they would actually probably like to eat up some time here, go 2, 3, 4 yards at a time rather than strike right away.
Exactly. They'd like to take about 9 minutes and to run off before they scored here.
First down, handoff, and that one doesn't go the way they would have liked.
That's a pretty big loss right there.
Yeah,
the ball must have come out because it's being spotted way back from where the tackle was. One of the offensive linemen for Armstrong is still on the floor.
And he's able to get up and right away. Noah Papa, 6'4", 270 and a sophomore.
6'4", 270 sophomore. It's a large 15-year-old.
So they do end up losing about 7 on that play. Not at all what Armstrong had in mind.
No. Hopkins defense has been fairly decent. I mean, they really haven't given up a lot. They've been aggressive. They've stopped the run when they needed to and haven't given up any big plays.
After those first 2 big ones early.
First 2, yeah.
Fakes the handoff, Fliss rolling to the right. Oh, and he is blasted. Might want to get rid of that one. DeLawrence Aaron getting there again. He lowered the boom earlier on Fliss on an option play, and watch him finish this one. He closes in a hurry, and ouch.
Yeah, he closes nicely and wraps Fliss up pretty good.
Another 9-yard loss. Armstrong going backward here.
Right, and we're 3rd and quite long now.
And they've got to get all the way down to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, 3rd and 26 yards. This is a tough play. This page in the playbook is blank usually.
Fliss throwing over the middle. He's got Bowman. Bowman cutting, and he falls very close to the first down.
Yep.
Well, they had something in the playbook there. It looked like, Bill. That was nice.
You got the 3rd and 26. You run the 27-yard play. And Bowman does a nice job. He gets underneath the coverage and makes a couple of nice moves after he catches the ball. Gets into enough for the first down. That's very demoralizing for the defense. You have 2 consecutive big loss plays. You really did a great job, and then you let the guy off the hook and give him a first down on 3rd and a mile and a half, and now they're at 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line. This is where they say test your mettle right here.
Go to Sherwood on the ground, and he is stacked up after a very minimal gain there. Maybe nothing. He was just inside the 10, so be 2nd down and goal to go. They've not really been able to run it right at him and just knock him off the ball when they've wanted to. Fliss is going to throw it this time, looking for Lozier, and a flag flies. He was held up by the D-back out there, so looks like it'll be a penalty on the Royals.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a push-off. Doesn't look like much. Oh, not a push-off. It was a hold. He grabbed the jersey. Yep. That tends to slow a receiver down if you grab the back of their jersey. It also tends to cost you 15 yards.
So we'll move them down half the distance here. And the down stays the same, of course. So 2nd down, goal to go here for Armstrong, trying to put the icing on the cake here, leading Hopkins 24-6. It was 24-0 at halftime. Royals have the only points of the second half. And the referee right now correcting it to revert to second down on the down marker. And a handoff to Sherwood. Great penetration. He kept his feet driving, but he'll maybe get back to the line if that. Chacolas got in there. He didn't make the tackle, but he got in there to interrupt that play enough.
Right, that's AJ Chacolas. I don't know if we mentioned his family, but he's got a brother playing, and his father was a pretty good high school and college football player in his own right. His father, Happy Chacolas.
And grandfather, a longtime wrestling coach.
Yep.
So 3rd and goal here for the Falcons. They're going to come back to that fade, and Lozier, I think he got it. Yes, touchdown.
He did. Boy, what a grab.
Nice job.
And got a foot down right in the corner of the end zone to make that grab. You can see why Nasheem Lozier is a pretty well-respected receiver here. Nice pass. Boy, he got 1 foot down right before the end line, and really well executed. And it wasn't poorly defended. That ball was thrown. The only thing that could happen would be a touchdown or an incompletion, because the ball was thrown up perfectly, and it was just a matter of whether it was going to be caught in bounds.
Jager on for the extra point, and the kick is good. And so with 6:30 to go here, you see Nasheem Lozier going up to get it in the corner and hauls it in. He looks back and he's pumped. In a lot of ways, that was almost as impressive a play as the 76-yarder they had, because this is a tougher play to work the footwork and to haul that ball in.
You know, and timing and everything like that. And you know, you have to make the grab. You can't worry about where you are on the field until you make the grab. And he had his foot position was perfect. He had his hands on the ball, and the ball was well thrown. He had to get it over the defender, and the defender was in a perfect position. That's where you tell your defensive back to be on that kind of a play. But a perfect pass is impossible to defend. That was well done. I would say Armstrong has now got a commanding lead at 31-6.
It'll be tough sledding to get back in and again, I think, now for Hopkins, obviously, but they're, you also are always working at for next week too.
Exactly.
You still hope to put together a drive, even if it doesn't, give you a chance in this one.
Right. As funky as 0-3 sounds, you're still not. You're only a third of the way through the year. You've still got 2/3 of the go. You got a lot of football left to play. You got to get after it.
And taken back around the 5 by Hill. And tripped up as he tried to cut it back across field around the 25-yard line. So Royals trying to get something going late here with this big deficit. Hopkins back at home next week as they host Spring Lake Park, another team that's getting off to a rough start. And then they were in the Prep Bowl last year, and they've been good for a long time in a row here. It's got to be a little bit of a shocker for them to be feeling, the way they are too.
Right, and evidently they're taking their lumps, and that's a tough road to hoe, especially with that program. It's so used to being on top of things.
Hopkins from their 26. Flecker faking the toss, and then he'll run it. And a pretty decent gainer there of about 6 or 7. So 2nd and 3 here for Flecker and crew here. Looking to his left, rush coming, he gets it out of there. And a solid open field tackle. Wozniak's had a nice game here for Armstrong as he's able to bring Blakes down. Willie Blakes, that is. Will be enough for the first down, though. So from the 38 now, first down for Flecker and crew as he rolls to his right. Fires on the run, and the catch is made there right at the 50 by Jack Gunderson. They hand it off this time. Blakes keeps the legs driving, and he'll pick up a nice gainer again.
And Blakes is a nice looking running back. He's a sophomore.
And an injured player for Armstrong. And where's the trainer?
They're still with the offensive lineman that was.
Football teams on the road for the next couple of weeks. Next week on the 22nd, they'll be taking on Forest Lake. Game time's a little later. That one starts at 7:30. Following week, 29th. Falcons travel to Cooper.
And it's Weston Johnson who was down on the field. On the left, number 84 is the runner coming at him hard, and not real apparent what happened there, but might have gotten maybe the helmet of the ball carrier right into the midsection.
Right in the solar
there.
plexus, yeah, it would, that would do it.
So it'll be a second and short 3 here for Hopkins off that injury stoppage. Looks like they're changing the play as Flecker backs out. Flecker looking now in trouble. Ooh, and he gets drilled just as he threw. Oof.
Boy, two guys.
He's taking a bit of a pounding tonight.
He's going to need the old ice bath when he gets back to Hopkins High School tonight.
See Francis getting there, and then another, didn't see his catch the number for sure there.
88?
Yeah, it might have been Brown.
Yep, it was Matthew Brown was the second guy there.
So third down here for Hopkins. Handoff there, and the ball comes loose. The Royals get back on it. Blake's dropped it and got a little help from his lineman, Evan Tickle there. So they at least will have a chance on fourth down here. You see the ball come out right there.
Yeah.
So he was being tackled by Adam Christian from the side there.
Tickle does a nice job of seeing the ball on the floor and getting to it. He had to run about 3 steps before he could get there.
Fourth and a couple here for Hopkins. Fakes a handoff. Flecker wanting to throw. It's knocked away and taken by Brown. He just knocked the ball right away and took it. Fumble recovery there by Matthew Brown.
Well, he got the hit on the ball just as Flecker was starting his throwing motion, as we see right there. And boy, that's at the most vulnerable spot for the quarterback, just when he starts the throwing motion. Get the ball tipped away, and that's kind of the short story of Hopkins' night tonight. You do well up to a point, and then all of a sudden something caves in.
So the Falcons will take over here. 4:08 to go, and they're at the Hopkins 49. They just want to put this one away and celebrate their second win in a row.
Exactly. Heads up play by Matthew Brown there.
Going to go up the middle on the handoff, and not a lot doing. Hopkins trying to rip the ball out, of course, and that's job number 1 for Armstrong. Sure, you'd like to gain yardage, but for Gates and Sherwood and anybody who handles it right now is hang on to the football.
Protect the ball. Yeah, protect the ball. Don't let the seed go to the floor.
2nd and 10 here for Armstrong. So Fliss, things have gone so well that they abandoned plans to maybe work in another quarterback tonight. He's done a nice job. And stacked up there, Hopkins is really obviously waiting and loading up to stop that middle run right now. And they will lose about 3.
We're down to the point of the game now where you want to run 40 seconds off every time. Every time. Hopkins can stop the clock 3 times.
Yeah. Fakes the handoff. Fliss getting to the outside, and he is going to be wrapped up and dropped there by Harris.
I think Fliss has had a really nice game tonight. He hasn't done anything super spectacular. He hasn't made a lot of mistakes, and he's matured. You can see his maturity developing during the game as the game has gone along, and I think that's a big thing for the entire team as they get used to him being the guy back there.
4th down, trying to do their best to draw the Royals offside. There was a flag, but who was it on?
Going to be on the Royals. Going to be encroachment.
You're right.
But it's not going to be a first down.
Yeah, see, I'm surprised Armstrong's messing around with this anyway. Get your punter out there.
Get your punter, put it deep, let the clock run out. You got 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm not. Wonder if somebody thinks it's 3rd down.
Unless Fliss also can kick, but he's trying to use up time now. They're going to delay a game.
Yeah. So they go back 5 yards.
And now
probably what they were going to do. Yeah, probably what they were going to do in the first place. But Hopkins wouldn't let them.
Hager gets away a high kick and a fair catch signaled for by Hill. Looked like he was kind of indecisive, and then he almost wanted to run.
Yeah.
But whistle down at the 15.
I would guess he'd want to run.
See what Hopkins has coming up, as they will be hosting Spring Lake Park, and then Chanhassen, who beat Armstrong in the opener, and St. Thomas Academy after that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the players, but outwardly, a lot of people around Hopkins were thinking, well, we've got easier schedule this year. We're gonna be winning a lot of these games now instead, and it just hasn't worked out that way so far.
Yep.
So Royals football at their 15. Flecker looking to throw, and it is incomplete. See, takes another shot.
Not quite sure who that one was intended to. Looked like it was Blake's, but the ball was way away from where Blake's was.
Second and 10. Klecker fires, finds Hammond, makes a move back toward the middle, and he's going to be wrapped up about the 24 or so. A little short of the first down. See what Armstrong's got coming up. They're at Forest Lake next week, another new opponent, and then We said at Cooper. That'll be a good one on the 29th. And we'll have that one for you on CCX Sports before they take on Jefferson. Cooper in the top 10 in Class 5A and looking to have a really good year. Ooh, nearly picked off there as he went over the middle, and Ian Morissette got a piece of that one. Another look. This was nearly an interception right there. Got his right hand on it anyway.
Yep, Ian Morissette did a nice job of getting his hands on the ball and knocking it down.
Flecker throws. That'll be enough for the first down as he is able to find Saxon there. Flecker now rolling to his left. Rush coming, and he gets hit and then almost intercepted again. And Morissette got his hands on that one after Flecker paid the price there as he was trying to throw that football. Getting there was Preston Bigger.
Pay the price is exactly what happened there. As Bigger does a nice job of turning Flecker around and forcing the errant throw.
23 seconds to go here in a 2nd down and 10. Flecker over the middle, hooks up with Hammond, and that'll be good for a first down out over the 45 to about the 47, 48 yard line.
And that was a really well executed play. It's nice to see, you know, Hopkins not caving in here. They've been pretty well handled. They've made enough mistakes for 3 games for themselves, but they're not quitting. They're running their offense. They're playing hard.
Flecker to Saxon, he slips, and that is going to do it for the game as Armstrong moves to 2-1 with a nice victory here tonight. Coming up with a 31-6 win and kind of set the tone with those big pass plays in that first quarter, Bill.
Well, they really did. They got their offense off the ground right when they needed to. A couple of great plays, great effort on the first one for the long 95-yarder and a nice throw and catch for the 75-yarder. Really set the tempo for the first half and kept Hopkins off the board. Gave Armstrong a chance to take control of the game, which they never relinquished. Hopkins made an effort to get back in it in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter, but really 6 points a little too late.
So Armstrong last week built a big lead and saw Spring Lake Park, make a push to get back in and got to within 3. This time they took care of business and kind of closed it out and able to put them away a little bit better.
Exactly what the coaching staff said they were looking for. We said we want to get to a point where we can finish things off, where we can finish games, and that's exactly what they did tonight. They looked like they could have given up a little bit, not so much given up, but given in a little bit to Hopkins, and they came back and scored and outscored Hopkins in the second half as well.
So a 2-1 start has to feel pretty good for them as they got, they found out how physical football can be when Chanhassen came and beat them in that first week, even after a pretty decent start in that one for Armstrong, and then progressed a little week by week, as Coach said. We gotta grow up in a hurry and a little bit better each week, and that's kind of the way it's shaped up. I thought they had a lot of things to be proud of tonight.
Yeah, and for the Hopkins Royals, they've got to find where their confidence is. They're going to be at a very low ebb right now. 0-3, not fun, but there's still 2/3 of the season remaining.
So a 31-6 victory here for the Falcons. Looks like Allie's ready down on the field. Let's go down to Allie.
All right, guys, we've got C. Lajer here. 2 touchdown scores for you tonight. Let's talk about that first one in the first half, 76 yards. It was a bomb of a throw and a heck of a run. Talk about it.
Yeah, you know, once I seen the ball in the air, it's just like, got to get it. I need this touchdown.
In the second half, you had a score again. It was the first time you guys have scored in the second half all season. How do you guys continue to break being a first half team and push in the second?
I mean, we just got to really, like, put in effort and practice because the last 2 games we haven't scored in the second half, and I'm happy to be the first person to score in the second half and break this streak.
And what about your quarterback and Tyler Fliss tonight? He had an outstanding game, made it easy for your offense.
Yeah, he's great. Every time he knew the play was coming to me, got me the ball, we scored a touchdown.
And let's talk about this defense. Coming into this game, they allowed 53 points in 2 games. Tonight, just 6. Talk about their performance.
Yeah, they were great. 6 points, that's great. You know, the last couple of teams been scoring in the second half, but this game, shut it down. Hard work.
Where do you see this team going this year, C?
You know, trying to go to states.
All right, maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys.
And congratulations to the Falcons on the victory here tonight. A reminder, next week, as we said, we'll be seeing the Osseo Champlain Park game on Friday night, and then the following Friday we'll see these Falcons again as they make the short journey over to Cooper. That one is a 5 o'clock start. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's telecast. For Bill Hunstock, Allie Arlton, all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. There's your final. Armstrong 31, Hopkins 6.